So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Always.
And if you could please introduce yourself to our listeners, and if you could give us kind of a quick backstory as to how you got into music.
Yeah. So my name is Mirza. I am the lead singer of Siamese, which is a band that's been existing for a while. We've been releasing albums continually for the last 10 years. Um, and now I just recently started my solo project, Afterlove. Um, and my way into music actually happened through a TV show. Uh, you know it as American Idols. We just call it Idols here at home. And I came second in that TV show back like 20 years ago. And it kind of took off from there. I kind of never left it, even though it was not in the cards. Sometimes when you do a TV show, it doesn't always pan out, but I never gave up. And 15 years later, here we are.
Yeah, I'm not a singer. I would never go on American Idol. I'd be one of those people they make fun of.
I wasn't as much of a singer, to be fair, back then either. I was, but I was a sportsman. I was a competitor. So I just wanted to show people that I could do it because I'm from a small town and people from small towns can maybe recognize this urge to do something that's bigger than life, to kind of get out of the mundane that you sometimes feel that you're stuck in when you live in a small city like I did. And I just took a chance. That the auditions were 3 hours away from my home, but I did it anyways. And I had to stay at a hotel at 16 or 17 years. I had to stay at a hotel by myself, so that's just how much I wanted it, I guess.
Awesome. So you're originally from Serbia. You'll be moved to Denmark. What's the difference in the music scene between those two?
Oh, the difference is massive. The balconies and all the I would guess the Turkish, the Russian, like that's like the influences in music. It's Russian, it's Turkish, it's the Balkans. So it's in like the scale of music, the tones of music, they use a different scale. So you will hear combinations of tones that you have heard for the first time in mainstream, maybe with System of a Down. Like you'll be like, oh, that's very different the way that sounds. And that's because they use that cultural tradition of making music. They use those tones. So that's where I come from. But it also comes with an underline of sadness. Like in the Balkans, you cannot say anything meaningful or truthful without it being a little bit sad. I guess it's some sort of heritage. So there is an inherent sadness that I'm born with in terms of music. And then in Denmark, it's just, it's ABBA, it's Robin, it's like all those big melodies, melody first, big happy tunes, modern. That's what Denmark is, and not to say that ABBA is Danish because they are not. I know that, so that nobody would write in the comment section that ABBA is Swedish. I know that, but just to say there's a huge difference. What I did from the get-go, like if you listen to our debut album, I mixed those two styles. I tried to mix it as much as possible, and I think over the years it got better and better. It suited better, much, it suited each other much better. It was difficult in the beginning, like switching. I sang in Serbian, and I would switch to English. Like it was not working out the way I wanted it. But today it's better. Like we have that song Sloboda from home, and I think that's the first time it really clicked.
Yeah, that's interesting to
Yeah.
hear about that, the differences. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the first time that I realized kind of the big difference, I've been big every once in a while, hit or miss. I shouldn't say big. Finding like vocal coaches on YouTube,
Yeah.
kind of like assessing, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, but they listened to System of a Down for the first time, and they talked a lot about what you had mentioned about how different it is compared to even American made music, all the
Yeah.
different tones and Serge's voice control and his inflections and everything. It was interesting to hear. But speaking more about your music, let's talk about
Mhm.
your solo project, Afterlove. What inspired you to start that?
Uh, Musical ADHD. Uh, I'm just I I have like 400 or 500 songs to my name. I just like producing content. I just like producing music, and it just so happens that I met up with some guys online and then in real life, guys who I really thought did really well on production. I was like, can I give it a go on these tracks that you made? I just want to do something for myself. I want to have the complete freedom of creativity to just create and not think too much about it. With Afterlove, you know, when you start a band, it's very important to think about what you want to bring to this world in terms of what you want to say, how you want to connect people, what do you want people to connect with you about, but also like having that edge, like what sets us apart from all the different bands. With Afterlove, I didn't want to do any of that. I was just like, let me just write some rock songs. I don't want to think about what it does. I don't want to think about what it means. I'm just gonna write the lyrics that just come to mind, and then the melodies they will come afterwards. The way I work normally is actually the different way around. So I would do the melodies first, and then I would do the lyrics. And all the smart people will tell you that that is the best way to do it. And I do think still that it might still be the best way to do it. But for Afterlove, I wanted to write down some lyrics and then do the melodies. Because it kind of, at one point, it just became very, it became important to me to say something that I wanted to say. Like I have a song in there about my son. I just recently became a father. Um, and I didn't want to, to, to fit him into a song. I just wanted the song to be about him and all I wanted to say. And then the melodies, they just had to come as they are. I don't care because it was very important for me to get that down for my legacy, for him, maybe one day. I hope he's proud when he hears that. Other songs, the same way. Like I'm being very brutally honest on some of the stuff that I'm writing about. And I just didn't want it to be killed by a melody that people could sing along to. I have Siamese for them. I have Siamese. And we have so many catchy songs. We have so many, sing along songs. Afterlove is just something different in that sense. So
Yeah.
that it just opened me up, and it's been very, very nice and very easy. And like when you have control over everything yourself, it's a true blessing. It is.
Yeah.
I love being in a band. Don't get me wrong. But everybody who's been in a band, they will understand what I'm saying.
So would you say those are a couple things that set Afterlove apart from Siamese then?
Yes, that's like the thing that you don't hear, you don't think about, but that's the biggest difference for me. The other one is that this project is very much less produced. It's one of the things when you hear the songs, the crazy thing about is almost everything you hear on that is one take. I just did it once. And all the songs, they were just written once. There were no back and forth about, I don't feel like, no. I was like, I just want to, this is what you gave me. I'm going to work with that. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to go because I've been doing music for so many years with maybe 10 revisions of a song. And afterwards, I would be sitting back and thinking, it's funny because the first time I did it was the best. That was the best feeling I had with it. So I didn't want to change anything. I just wanted to go first take. This is the melody. Cool. It felt natural. It was in my brain, and that's great. And I sang it with these words, and I want to change it. That's very different from how I normally work. Um, so even though people might say, "Oh, it kind of sounds maybe even like Siamese," it could have been a Siamese song. For me, it was a totally different process.
Yeah, the process makes it different. I mean, that's definitely a different process, I'd say, that we've ever heard.
When you've been doing it so much like I have, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna test this out, see how that works because it's new waters for me, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it just meant a lot to me to make the songs. And I have to admit, and this can sound really weird, I of course want the people to like the songs, but I'm also in a place where I'm like, I don't care if you like the songs. I like the songs. I really like making them. So if whatever happens to them, they're just my babies. And if I just have those babies for myself, great. If people wanna love those babies too, that's great too. But it doesn't really make a difference for me right now.
Yeah. Well, I, for one, love all three songs you've released.
That's nice. Thank you. So here, we're sharing our babies now. That's great. I love it.
I do love all three songs. And then you announced back in January that you're actually going to release the album Copenhagen Closure in
Yeah.
March on the 21st. Now, is this going to be like an EP, or are you planning on releasing any other new songs with it?
You know what? It's I hit like the spot where it's too long to be an EP, but it's too short to be an album. So there's 7 songs. Actually, there were supposed to be 8 songs on it. But I can ask you, what do I do? It's an 8 song. The 8th song will come after the album. There's a song that's not done because Zach, who is from If Not For Me, he's doing the guitars. He hasn't done them yet, but he will once he's back from tour. So that will be released afterwards. So it's a total of 8 songs, but it's not enough to make an album, but it's too long to be an EP. Am I right?
I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I think 8 could be a full length. I think the longest EP I've seen was 7. I want to say like All Time Low did like a 7 song EP way back in the day. But I think I've seen 8 track uh full lengths.
Maybe
Yeah,
they need a new one. They need a new term for something in between EP and LP.
I think we use the term mini album, but it's like
It could be
you
an
know
MP.
an MP, like a middle album.
Yep, middle album,
Yeah, it's
middle play. What does the
obviously
P even stand
obviously
for?
Play.
Play,
play.
yeah, middle play.
Yeah,
It's middle play.
what's the E stand for?
Extended.
Extended play.
Yep.
And then
Why
long
does it?
play.
Because you have singles, you have extended play, then you have long play.
All right, everybody's getting smarter today. That's good. That's good. So yeah, it's a 7 track EP, uh, and it will become an 8 track album once the last song is edited and done from Zach. He just needs to record the real guitars. Right now, it's just the demo. So I have 8 songs in total, and I'm talking to Zach from Green City Drive. He already wrote some new songs. I'm going to LA in April to write more songs. Is it for Afterlove? We'll see. Maybe it's for Siamese. It probably is, and we'll take it from there.
I was gonna say too, it could be a 7 song EP with a hidden secret track.
And then it's an album. The thing
There you
is,
go.
you want to use the album term because it sets out a more serious note, I guess, and people will take it more serious. I don't know. It's just me overthinking. Seven
Yeah.
songs on the release. We call it the release.
So everyone can look forward to new songs then being released when the album comes out or the EP comes out.
Yeah, I don't know when you're airing this, but I'm gonna have a song out this Friday as well, which will be the last one, called "The Humbling," and then there will be 3 new songs, 3 new unheard songs after that. Yeah, and the reason for that being obvious that I want to release a couple of singles, build momentum, get people excited, hopefully, and then release 3 more, and then work on new material. Because right now the project is online based, and I'm severely thinking about. I have a band together, but I'm thinking about how and why and if I can do it, like do the live shows.
Yeah.
Probably will. I can't probably can't not do it. Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, we have another band we've had on a couple times, Internet Friends, and they're all online based. And we've asked them like, "Don't you want to find a way to make this happen?" And they're like, "We'd love to, but One guy's in Australia, one guy is where is he
Mm.
in the US, Jess?
Isn't Ross? I think Michael's in Texas, isn't he?
Texas. Yeah. So they try and figure that out too. But let me do a quick little pivot here. I'm just curious. You're also the CEO of Prime Collective, an artist development company. How did that come to be?
I my background, well, working background back then was working at a label. I was the head of promotion in a company that released the first couple of Volbeat albums, and I said they would, doing PR for a couple of international acts. So I've always known that. Once I got tired of that and quit that job to just focus on the band and what I wanted to do, I created a consultancy first. So like I was consulting other artists to not make the same mistakes I've made for the past 5 years.
Hmm.
So and that became quickly became pretty successful business because yeah, it was useful. It was useful for people, and they hire me. They don't give over some rights to me, whatever. They just hire me to tell them the truth and how they, should go about. After a couple of years, those consultancies turn into real management deals because people, you know how it is. Once you start working with someone, you trust them, you want to keep them by your side, and that happened to me a lot. And so I signed a couple of bands to a couple of labels, and then word goes out having a reputation, and I just kept building. And a couple of years back, some investors came in and put in some money and told us like, I know you're doing Siamese and you can keep doing that on the side, and not on the side, you can keep doing that. We're not interested in that, but we want you to build a company, a label, and a management. Um, and here's some money. And who am I to say no to that? So yeah, sure, we'll build a fucking label and a management, and here we are.
Yeah. Were there any struggles you faced from becoming like going from artist management to just being Prime Collective? Like kind of more of
I
a label
think
based kind of thing?
it's difficult whatever you do. Like earning money on music is always difficult. I find it a little bit easier being a label because you actually just invest money into some bands. Being a manager is like telling them that you're worth something, but you can't prove it. And
Yeah.
that's a different kind of game. Like I can all do this for you, blah blah blah. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, I trust you. Or they say, whatever, we don't trust you. Fuck off. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You can
Uh,
swear, it's fine.
Okay, good. And being a label is like, hello, we like your music, we want to buy it, here's some money. That's a bit easier. Like bands are like, oh, okay, that's good money. I'm happy to see what you can do with the 4 or 5 or 10 tracks that we've recorded. So that's the first thing. But I would say is an interesting thing about that actually. The most difficult thing about being a label and doing being a professional, industry professional, and also having a band is that your band is never considered to anything because you're that industry professional. Like I'm the only one pitching my project. Like that was how it was for a long time for me, and it just doesn't taste great when you have to write an email. Hey, yeah, I know we're working together on this project, but you should know I have a band, and it's not a good situation. It's not a good start position. And so I'd struggle a lot of the time to push Siamese because it just felt like I was using my position, which I was, of course. I'm not ashamed to say that. If I see a possibility, I would push for it. But it was very difficult in the beginning. But then obviously the music started hitting and streaming, and then it was much easier to get a foot. But the biggest issue I've had is being a musician and being an industry person at the same time, and having to mix those two, and people were not taking me serious for a long time.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening.
Yeah,
So,
right. It's
so since we do have you here, I do want to ask some questions about Siamese as well. I know we wanted to
Mhm.
talk more firstly about Afterlove since that's the newest project you have. But your latest album, Elements, was released back in August of 2024. Now, it might sound crazy, but my two favorite songs are actually the least played on YouTube, which
Yeah.
are Utopia and God is a Woman. I don't know what it is about those songs. They're just my favorites. Do you have any favorites from the record that are personal favorites?
Yeah, I can tell you which songs is my least favorite.
Yeah.
Utopia.
Of course. Of course. You know, I'm like that though. I like to pick songs for some reason. I sway towards songs that are like the least favorite of some people, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's
It's
just my favorite.
the pop punk thing. I can't. We released it, and I was not too thrilled about it, but we released it, and it really resonates with people. And I could imagine it's very fun playing live. We're gonna play it live this year to see how people react, and that might change my mind. But my favorite songs on this album is definitely Predator, and Shape of Water, which was the first song we did for the new album. We've been dripping that, we've been releasing singles, and Shape of Water was the first song we did. Funny story about that is Andreas back then wrote that song because he was trying to write songs for Bring Me the Horizon. He knew someone from their camp, and they told them like, we need riffs. Everybody who has riffs can send it. And Andreas just sends the whole song, and he got no word from them ever. And then we just decided, well, it's a very good track. Let's just do something ourselves. And that's how Shape of Water came about. And it's probably my favorite song on the album.
It's a good song. The whole
Mhm.
album's great, but you know.
Thank you.
What was the greater inspiration behind that album?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. And I'm gonna be honest because we Andreas wrote a lot of the songs on this album because I had a kid at that time, specific time, so I couldn't be there as much as I used to. But I think the inspiration was to try and build up on Home. So like when we released Home, kind of found ourselves in that soundscape, and we wanted to just perfect that sound and do that. But I will also say, and this is breaking news, uh, I believe we're gonna go quite away from that sound. We're gonna do something else because in our lifetime, we've always done two albums that kind of sound the same, and then we have a new era coming in, and then they sound the same. So Shameless and Superhuman kind of sound the same. Then Home and Elements, they kind of sound like it's in the same universe. And then this next step is it's going to be very new, very different, and I can't wait to tell people what's up. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, people are either gonna love it or hate it, but it's your music, so you can do whatever you want with it.
You know what? I've spent my whole life telling myself that the last thing I want to do is things that I don't like to do and people I don't like to work with. And that's forever gonna be my mantra. And I just wanna keep that in focus and do not be too focused on numbers, radio, and tours, whatever happens. It's been such a long time. I've been so many years into this game now, and I'm so grateful for everything we've managed and every experience we've got. Um, but I won't allow it to change me anymore. I've changed so much. I've tried to fit in. I've tried so many things to make it work. And now we're here and we've altered everything into something that we could see ourselves in. And now I'm not changing anymore. It's just I just want to do what I want to do, whatever happens.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now.
Well, I can't wait to hear what you come up with.
Yeah.
Now, between Afterlove and Siamese, how does your music reflect your personal experiences and emotions, and how do you hope that resonates with fans on a deeper level?
At one point during COVID, or even earlier, it was earlier. I think one of the most difficult things to do as a songwriter is to become honest, like to be real with what you feel and figure out how you can put that in words. Um, and that has become the main ingredients in what we do. Like if I can tell a truthful story, I swear to God, our biggest hits take away Shape of Water. I don't know what Shape of Water is about. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know what that song is about. We just wrote some lyrics that felt empowering, I guess, but I don't know what the song is about. All the other songs that are many streams and that I consider them to be our biggest successes are the genuine songs that are directly from my real life experiences, like Can't Force the Love, Ocean Bed, Vertigo. Those are songs about how I felt. And it just tells me that that's my kid, by the way. Can you hear him scream?
No.
Okay, good. And it just goes to tell me that every time I manage to write something very real, it hits people and they can see themselves in it. So that is like the thing. I hope I answered the question. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Answered well enough.
Good, 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 good.
We got the answers, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Now, I heard that you brought your family with to the States when you went on tour last with Siamese in the States.
Mhm.
Do you do that often? Do you bring them on tour all the time?
Well, I'm the only one who does that, actually.
Oh, you're the only
Uh,
one. Nobody else brought
yeah,
their family.
oh no, that's not true. That's not true. Christian brings his family on tour as well. Yeah, they were with me for a week. Um, And it's actually pretty funny because when you bring your family on tour and you step out of the bus and you drive around with your family instead for a week, and then how we did it was I stepped out of the bus, I rented the car, we did some hotels, and then like, after the show, I just drove back to the hotel and was with them for a week. The thing is, when you come back to the tour and they leave, it's like the whole tour starts from scratch, like from the beginning. You're so energized. You're back. You're like, no, I've not been on tour. I've been on a 1 week vacation with my family, playing a show here and there. So it mentally, it's a massive, great fix because it's sometimes it can be directly like so fucking hard to be on tour with so little space and also personal space and 7 guys in a RV, place stinks, sleep really bad. So I bring them because it's just good for me and it's good for them. And my kid can fly; he doesn't care about the long flights. Um, he has his dad's gypsy soul. He likes to move around, obviously, it seems. So that's good. Um, so yeah, it's just been a revelation to me that I can bring them, and I gladly spend that extra money. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's great you were able to do that.
Mhm.
Bring a little piece of home with you or back to you while you're on tour.
I hope one to have our own nightliner on tour, and then we can bring our families to stay in the buses. It will be a different kind of bus experience from what we've tried before. Like the partying will definitely take a dip, but that doesn't matter. I think it would be very nice, that little dream of having everybody's family in the bus with us.
For sure. Now, you guys just got back not long ago from your Siamese headline tour throughout Europe and UK. How was that tour? How'd that go for you guys? I know you sold out a lot of shows.
Yeah, our biggest tour yet, very successful. And those shows that didn't sell out will close, which is great. But commercially, it was great. Like we came home and it was just like so fucking great to see that people buy tickets. Yeah, imagine us like in this world where everything is about how many TikTok followers you have, how many views, how many whatever. Uh, we have 26,000 Instagram followers. We sold 7,500 tickets. Uh, the ratio is crazy. Like I know bands who have hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers who sell 100 tickets. So it was a big relief for me because I really hate creating content and being that guy. Um, so that was a success. But I'll tell you a different story, and that it was absolutely terrible as a tour physically because the day before we were to leave, I was pushing something, some light gear. I was pushing it with my hands, and I'm a fragile guy, brother. I'm a fragile guy, so it's like my shoulder is fucked. And as I was pushing, I just dislocated my shoulder so bad. The day before we were going on tour, it was just,
Oh,
I, oh,
we're breaking up. We're
oh
breaking
my
up.
God, this is terrible. And it took me three, yeah, I had to put it in place myself. The doctors didn't want to put it in place themselves because it's dangerous. I don't know. And then I had to go on tour with that dislocated shoulder. Sleeping in a bus with a dislocated shoulder that bumps around is is no joke. It was terrible. After I was feeling better with the shoulder after a week or so, um, we got so sick. People isolated themselves. Like I didn't see people for 2 or 3 days because they were just so gone. So we also learned something. Besides it being very successful, we learned that touring in January is in Europe is a terrible idea.
I mean, a lot of
February, it's
sick
crazy.
germs are going around too in the
And you're like
wintertime.
20 people in the same bus, like in the same little square. We were
Well,
crushed by the
I guess the next tour in Europe and the UK is going to be a summer tour.
April and onwards. April and onwards, I would say, but it was fuck, I hated it so much. It was so bad, and the weather was bad. And if you're feeling sick and it's raining and it's cold everywhere, like why is it so cold everywhere you go in England? Even if you're inside, it's cold. It was terrible. It was so hard, but we survived. I don't want to sound spoiled, but it was a little bit hard.
Eh, we all have our struggles, right, Chris?
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say even if you did a US tour, definitely don't come in the winter, especially to the Northeast winter tour in the US. That'd be
no, but
awful.
your country is a different kind of breed. Like when it's cold, it's really fucking cold, and when it's warm, it's extremely warm. So I definitely understand that touring in January is not an option.
Yeah, touring in like December, January, February is probably a bad option.
Yeah, right.
Even March
Yeah,
is a gamble, probably.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
not doing that.
In January they even got snow as like far south as Houston, Texas. So, I mean,
But do you see bands doing tours in US
oh yeah, they
Oh
in
do.
yeah.
January? So
Oh yeah.
you can't pull it. Gotta get
They
that
do,
money, I
but
guess.
I mean, if as long as you have a good driver that can drive in the snow, you're probably okay,
I'd
maybe.
st- I still wouldn't risk that because I mean, you've heard the story about that May show in Syracuse where who was on that? It was May and Hidden Plainview, and they got
Yeah.
stuck overnight because they couldn't get out. Yeah, I wouldn't. No, just don't come to
Yeah.
Syracuse too. That's a good idea. Uh,
What
but
are the good advices?
it's not bad to play. It's just not a fun place in general. We've got nasty weather um, here,
Yes.
but anyway, so you shared quite a painful story from this. Do you have any fun stories you could share? Me and Jess love stories, and maybe crazy stories from on stage or in the bus, or
I got one pretty fun story that happened to me on this tour that will stick with me forever. It's pretty tragic too, but it was very fucking fun. Um, and this I hope it's okay. I share this. It's really funny. Sometimes when we come to different cities at different venues, the fans they like to bring us gifts, and they would buy us different stuff. And now I've obviously been very public about me becoming a father. So that was kind of the theme last year in February when I was pretty new for me, and everybody would come. Some people, there is one person who designs specifically for Leo. She designs clothes to him with like his name on it and stuff, which is great. It's so thoughtful. I love it. Then this night, I can't remember which city, there was a woman who came up to me and it's like, I have a gift for you. And I was like, yeah, that's great, thank you. And like, here you go. This is those things you put around babies? What's it called?
like
Necklace
a
When they
bib.
things?
about
A bib?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She said, this is a bib for babies who have Down syndrome. And I was like, uh, okay, thank you
Okay.
for but why are you giving me this? My child doesn't have Down syndrome. No, I just thought it would be smart and good and it's practical. And like, okay, like that was so weird to me. Like, I mean, thank you, but yeah, I got a bit for a baby with Down syndrome.
I didn't
Yeah,
know there
I
was
thought
any different kind of bibs for babies.
me neither. That was why it was so funny to me. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you. I guess that's pretty
Huh,
crazy.
that is
So yeah,
Yeah,
weird.
I
that
have
was
two
an
kids and I never heard of that.
I don't know what the hell was going on. I was confused. I was confused. I mean, that's the things that happen on tour. We also had more tour. No, I can't share that. That would be. We had a bus driver once who. No, it's too graphic. I can't tell you. But yeah, I'll leave it. He was he was it was the middle of the night and he just we were on the highway and he just it's not even that funny now I think about it. He just needed he just shat his pants while driving, which was terrible. Those things do happen on tour. You don't have a lot of options once you get a bad stomach. So
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, bad
that's not even
stomachs
a
are the
good
worst.
That's not even a good story. Sorry, you're looking for good stories. I can tell you good. I can tell you a good story. Um
Any fun stories from when you were in the States?
what was you know how it is like when somebody tells you tell a good joke right now and you're like oh
Yeah.
stuck. This is the same situation. Overall, the states were fun to us because of the moods was so fucking good. The people were so great, and the drives were a lot of fun. It was fun being at Walmart and trying that, and the whole culture was really cool. I can't really pin down. Oh yes, I can pin down one situation, and I'll tell you this one. And I want to, if that guy listens to this story, maybe he will understand my reaction. I think we were 2 or 3 days into the tour when I decided to do mushrooms. Like you have these legal gummy bear things.
Yes.
I took one right before I went on stage, and it I went through the show not feeling anything, but when I got up to the merch, I have never tried shrooms in my life. This was the first encounter ever, and we always stand up in the merch after the show to try and sell more merch. People want to say hi, and I was just standing there laughing my ass off. I was just laughing hysterically. It must have been so fucking weird. No, I was just holding my breath like, oh, I can't. It was just, I was sitting down and I was, maybe people could see it, but it was a fun experience to just try that. I was amazed. I loved it. As I said, I love America.
I have heard though, like when you do stuff like mushrooms and stuff, they don't hit right away, and all of a sudden it's just like bam.
It took an hour. It took an hour, and then I was like, I was being all professional. Yeah, what are you like? Oh man, thank you so much. Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much for coming out. And uh, then I started laughing so hard, and it was just like, what is going on? I was so, I got a cultural experience, which was like a memorable one. And then, like show-wise, I don't know what they drink in the water in Worcester, in that city, Worcester up north. It was one of the most fun shows we've ever done. We had so much fun. A little place, but it was so much fun. Right on that tour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that like the Boston, Worcester area that their shows are quite intense.
Yeah, yeah, loved it, loved it. Every single bit of it. It was great.
So do you guys have any tour plans for this year then?
We are trying to do a tour in the fall in the States. We have nothing confirmed yet. We'll be working on it. It's a little bit difficult for us in the States because we don't
Hmm.
have an agent. We're pretty reliant on the management and bands we know who want to take us on tour with them. So we're trying to build America more because we got that work visa. I have a work visa for 3 years. So I'm trying to get over there as much as possible. Um, and every single chance I get, I will take to get to the States because I love Europe, but I've toured Europe for 8 years now. I have seen every single city. I have eaten every good burger there is. I need America some more. So I'm really hoping we can make it happen.
Oh man, Chris, he said good burgers. Well, like we've always had this
Mm.
conversation randomly with people. Like the best burger in the States. What is the best burger in the States?
Chicago, there was a place in Chicago right next to the venue we worked at. That was a really, really, really good burger. I can't remember the place's name, but it was extraordinary. Right next to the venue we played on. I will forever come there if I'm in Chicago. But if it comes to the chains, the big American chains, nobody comes near In-N-Out Burger, in my opinion.
Uh-oh. The In-N-Out
Nobody comes near.
debate, Chris. The In-N-Out debate
Yeah,
starts
yeah.
again.
I'm sorry, Chris, but it is the best. For me, it is the best.
No, I
I
agree.
also,
It's definitely up there. I've had it only once or twice.
Mm,
It's not out near me, but no, we had a deep debate with the guys in A Virtue about
mm.
the best American burger. Um, I still can't believe Damon said McDonald's. I
Oh, but I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's like for me, it's In-N-Out and Five Guys. They also do really well, Five Guys. But I want to tell you what I don't freaking understand, and that is that White Castle bullshit. What are you guys on about?
I don't know.
I felt so sick after eating that. I felt ugh, that that was so mushy, so
I had White
non-appealing.
Castle years ago, and I don't even think I ate a burger. I think I had the chicken rings. And I'm like, chicken should not come in ring form.
Mm, yeah, it was, and we ordered so much. We ordered so much because we didn't know what to expect. And I think we left half of it. Terrible, terrible. So I can easily name the worst. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever have Culver's while you were in the States?
Never heard of it.
No. Ah, that's
Is it
that's
good?
our staple in Wisconsin is Culver's because it originated from here, but there are some
Oh,
scattered.
Culver's.
Culver's, yes.
Culver's. I thought you said Calver's. Culver's. I think we saw some signs. Now you're saying that, but no, we didn't eat there.
Oh, well, next time you gotta have a Culver's butter burger.
Oh, that sounds so good. I am. Don't do this to me. I am. There is two things in life, maybe three. I love my family, I love my music, and I love eating. It's just, my big dream is when I'm done with all this music, I want to build a hotel. I want to make a nice restaurant, and I just want to sit back and take care of people and be like, yes, you go over there, this is your room. And then I have a restaurant where I can eat every day, some cook preparing meals for me every day. That's my big ass dream. That's what I want to do.
That'd be a great dream. You know, you could always up that too. You could add like a music venue attached to the hotel.
No, no, no. Once I'm
No?
done, I'm done. Once I'm done, I'm done. I don't need to think about bands and whatever the band and music was for me. Once I'm done, I'll be like, I need to do something completely different with hopefully the money that I've earned and made and try something else in my life. I think, in my opinion, I love music, but it would be maybe um, uh, a spiritually, maybe a little bit poor life if I've done the same thing my whole life.
Yeah,
So at one point, I had like a date set, like when I'm 55, I'm gonna do something else. That's how I feel.
right. I wish. I mean, at 55, me and Chris, we might still be doing this podcast. You never know.
maybe
I hope so.
I hope so too, actually. I'll keep doing this forever. I love talking to people and getting to know bands on a deeper level. And
Mhm.
also helping try to spread the word about bands. That's kind of what we're all about. We try our hardest to spread word, but we're not that great. We hate social media stuff too, but we
Mm,
try our
yeah.
best. We try our best.
I think musicians, the thing we always like. I can speak for myself. I think hard is very very nice. Like if you feel like people are genuine and they like to talk just because they like to talk to you, uh, you can get far with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're on to our last question, aren't we, Chris?
Second to last, actually.
Oh.
So I wanted to throw something in here. I don't know if you have seen the way A Day to Remember is releasing their new album. They actually are releasing the physical before streaming, 2 months ahead, I think. It's a month or two ahead. It seems like they're trying to feed back into album sales before they push out the rest streaming. So they release two singles and they're like, "Hey, buy the physical album. You can stream this in 2 months, though." What? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about them like trying to feed back into album sales versus just here's the music, stream it, and buy the album if you maybe want to?
I I don't understand why all of us are not doing that. It makes so much sense. We've already done that. We said to people, you'll get the album a month before it's out. That's what we did as well. Because obviously the demand, if you look at it let's now is the industry professional speaking. If you look at it, the pinned up demand is biggest right before it's released. So people like if I'm A Day to Remember fan and I have the opportunity to hear it 2 months in advance, if this is something I'm really into, like let's imagine my favorite band right now is The Plotting You. So if he was like, here is the album 2 months before, you can hear it if you pay me now. I will pay you now, you know, from a fan. So it makes perfect sense because obviously I think maybe 50% will drop off if the album is available for streaming, but they will probably buy that album. I don't know if they're thinking about album what's it called? Maybe they're not. Actually, they're doing the opposite. They're not thinking about charting. They don't care about that because that doesn't really matter anymore. In the big scale of things, all right, if you're number one, that's great. But they're so big, they have they have their fans. They can sell out big rooms. They can do everything they want. Um, so this is a smart business. They will basically, hopefully for them, earn more money. And I applaud it. I think everybody should do it who is that big as they are. Um, it makes perfect sense. Also because I think, don't you think a lot of fans are tired of the singles? Like like me, I'm tired of it, but I'm forced to fucking release 5 or 6 singles before I release the whole album, and then there's like 4 songs left. It's kind of a bummer, you know.
I do.
But that's
I
yeah, go
like the
ahead.
singles, but I do miss the days of like having an anticipation, like
Yeah,
waiting
right.
for that record to come out and then just like throwing it in my CD player and listening to it straight through for the first time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
miss those days.
And the thing it does a disservice to the album because the album will actually be a little less better than it actually is because you've heard some of the songs. So you're not as impressed as you would be if you heard it for the first time. So I can give you a great example. The new Architects album is fucking great. It's so good, in my opinion. But I can feel me skipping songs that I've already heard. Those songs are probably the best ones, and I'm skipping them. I'm not getting the whole thing because I've heard the 6 singles that they released before. Um, so it does do something, but the nature of streaming doesn't allow me to act in any other way.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to get those monthly listeners up. It's so important to get that right. It's because nowadays that's all the agents, the festival promoters, the labels, that's all they look at. That's like the metric for everything. So you got to play the game. Kind of sucks for the album format, but you know,
Yeah.
it
It
is what
is
it
what
is,
it
I
is.
guess. Yeah.
And now for the last question, most important one of all, our staple question: what's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh God. I really like the Zen and the Buddhism and the piece of that long neck mofo that eats big ass tree leaves in
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, the one you can pet.
Yeah,
That one, that's a Brachiosaurus in Jurassic Park. So,
That's the one. That's my favorite.
That's my favorite dinosaur.
I remembered when seeing Jurassic Park, I was like, oh, that's a nice dinosaur. Not those creepy fuckers with small hands. They want to kill us. I like
It was a
those.
nice dinosaur until it sneezed on him.
True. That's like, yeah, that's true. That's true. That was very cute as well. So yeah, if I had to pick a dinosaur, I would pick that one for sure.
Yeah. But that's my favorite dinosaur too, so I don't know why. I've always loved that dinosaur.
I love that scene because it being a very intense movie. That was like actually one of the scenes. Jurassic Park is very old, and that's actually one of the scenes that still sticks with me. I remember that one and the one in the lab with those small ones who are freakishly quick, and they kill them all in that leather lab. Like you remember that scene?
I know what
They were the
scene you're
same
talking
height.
about.
Yeah, they're the same height as us, almost. Like they're
Oh, the
just a little bit bigger than us.
Velociraptors? You're talking
The
about the
Velociraptors.
Velociraptors.
Yeah, exactly.
The kitchen
Those I
scene, the
remember.
kitchen scene is very,
That's the one. It's not a
very
lab, it's a
big.
kid. It's that was scary to me because they were our height. They were humanized somehow because they were our height. They were like
Yeah.
crazy alien huge dinosaurs. That was pretty scary.
I actually remember because I saw Jurassic Park for the first time in theaters when it came out, and I was like probably 10 years old, and I was terrified of so many scenes. I left the movie theater a bunch of times because I was like, nope, not having nightmares. And then I'd come back when it's
Uh,
less screams and stuff.
do you guys
Ah,
do you guys remember that movie, The Ring?
The
You
Ring,
remember that movie, The Ring? Yeah.
a little
That's
bit, yeah.
when that movie came out and that little girl crawled out of the TV. Oh, dear Lord. I couldn't let go of that movie for years. Like that was so scary. Every time I was alone and the TV was off, I was just not comfortable because in the movie it just turns on and then and then she comes up by the well and she has her hair down and you don't see anything, just her hair, and then she just gets closer to the screen and just starts crawling out of the screen. Oh, fuck me. I was not ready for that. I was not. Oh my God. That was some real trauma on my soul.
Yeah. I mean, millennial trauma, like 90s kid trauma, Chris, talk about like Final Destination. People are always like, oh, I'm behind a log truck. What's gonna
Yeah.
happen?
I mean, that's the same with anything from like the millennial I mean, like all the Disney movies from back then, all the parents died.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's lots of trauma back in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
We lived through all that
Yeah.
trauma and somehow we're still here.
Still more sane than all the other generations, I would say.
I think so. What do you
But
think,
I think
Chris?
all generations feel like that, I guess.
We always think that. I think every generation thinks they're the same generation, for sure. Uh-oh. Did we freeze?
But
There we
we're
go.
the only generation. We're the only generation who's been. Yeah, we're back now. We're the only generation that has experienced not having internet, not having social media, not having mobile phones, and then having them. Like we're progressed into it, like and still being like well aware of it and know how to use it and stuff like that. So like in my opinion, we're the wisest. We're the wisest generation. We know how
Yeah,
it was without. We know how it is with it.
it's true. That's it, Chris. We're the wisest generation, and that we're sticking to it, right?
Yep.
But the dinosaur question
Think
was
so.
our last question. Is there anything else you'd like to mention
Mhm.
before we leave?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me, and you know, whoever is listening, go support these guys. You've been very nice to me always, and I appreciate it. Um, and other than that, I hope that people enjoy all the music that I make and we make and put out, and that we can keep going for a couple of more years would be nice. And yeah, just a grateful Dane
Yeah.
to
Hopefully,
to
you
say
can
thank
keep
you and
going until you're 55.
well, that is my plan. Somehow, I will keep going until I'm 55. Um, yeah, there's a couple of more years for that.
Yeah.
roughly about 20. So we're well ahead of time. We'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on. We've had a pleasure chatting with you and learning more and just talking about all the random things that we sometimes talk about. But yes, thanks again for coming on. You have a
Thank
good
you so
rest of your
much.
day, and we'll
Thank you
talk
so
to
much.
you another time.
I am always here for you guys. Thank you for
All
having
right.
me and have a great day.